Back when the Sci-Fi Channel could be freaking intense, man. Dinocroc. This is the 2004 sci-fi horror flick from director Kevin O'Neill, who also directed Dino Shark and Dracano, as well as famous producer, Roger Corman. This is also a Patreon request from Patreon supporter Michael Cole. The plot! It was never meant to live in modern times. A creature of massive size and bulk, the Dinocroc escapes its home known as Jericho, and begins its attack on a small town. Now it's up to a local artist, a shelter attendee, a big game hunter, and a scientist from Jericho to stop the menace. With the help of the entire police force. What good that will do. I hadn't watched this movie in a great deal of time. I recently watched it with Momster, and we were both very impressed. Knowing what sci-fi became in 2009 with Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus and then so on, it's always a breath of fresh air when they put out a decent creature feature from back then. Dinocroc was the first in the Corman hybrid catalog. He would follow it up with Supergator, Dino Shark, Sharktopus, Piranaconda, and so on. There would also be mashups between Dinocroc and the Supergator, as well as Sharktopus versing Terracuda and Werewolf. Terracuda and Piranaconda are personal favorites of mine, as well as Sharktopus. He's a badass. Here, it was simple. It's basically a messed up looking dinosaur. Teeth protrude all over its mouth, and it looks anything but friendly. I do like the setting and locations, like the artist's house and the yard is all metal framework and stuff. And I like the swamps near the lake at night, all the fog and everything. It was really well done. It's got great atmosphere, great stuff. Tom Banning, played by Matt Bolinghi from Bloodsurf, is the outlier of the group. At first, he doesn't necessarily belong, but he does go along and becomes very useful by the end. He isn't a comedic relief who just tags along. He's actually very helpful when he doesn't fuck up. He's beneficial, I tell you.
I'm doing as best as I can! Ow! Ow!
Oh shit, Tom!
His skills become very useful in a natural way. He doesn't feel forced in there to be in the middle of a love triangle. It just feels like he belongs. And that love triangle never really even happens. It kind of is suggested that, but nothing comes of it. Way to go, Dinocroc. Diana Harper, played by Jane Longnecker. Is she a dinosaur?
Longneck?
Runs an animal shelter and has a past with Tom. When he comes back into town, it sparks that relationship all over again. Even if her father doesn't really love the idea. Hell, he doesn't even approve. Sheriff Harper, played by the always great Charles Napier from Rambo First Blood Part 2, is actually unaware of the threat for a while. I would have figured his daughter would have reached out for his assistance, but I guess she didn't want him to have another broken jaw or nose or whatever, but that's a bit selfish, don't you think? People died, and she doesn't even feel bad about that. Anyways, he's all on board after a lake incident. Dick Sidney, played by Costas Mandylor from the Saw franchise, is the big game hunter from Australia. He's got a cocky attitude, but when shit gets serious, he gets serious. He's not unprofessional. There's a scene similar to Deep Blue Sea where Costas Mandylor's character goes underwater to try to warn the guy to come up, and there's a Dinocroc, but he can't say anything. He's just like, go up. And then the Dinocroc just comes swimming by and grabs him. So then Costas Mandylor has to freaking pull out a knife and stab Dinocroc while it's charging at him. It's actually badass, but a bit lackluster. If he's hopped on its back or something, that'd be awesome. I think that happened in the book. I've read the book. Still, it's appreciated nevertheless. Dr. Campbell, played by Bruce Waits, is responsible for the creature's creation. He initially thinks that it will die on its own within 24 hours of its escape, but isn't certain. So, he accompanies the game to try to take it down. Paula Kennedy, played by Johanna Pakula from Virus. She wants to cover her tracks as much as possible. A real bitch. Finally, there's Michael Banning, played by Jake Thomas, who was actually fresh off of Lizzie McGuire, the TV show, which was really big, so he was really big. He's Tom's little brother. And I do wish that they had a little bit more chemistry, or even just more scenes together to really build up the relationship. But it works well enough when it needs to. Jake actually gives the best performance in the movie, I think, despite his limited screen time. Like I said in the intro, this film gets quite intense, and I'll get into why now. The gore, the effects, while this isn't the goriest creature feature, there are still some highlights. They find a body bitten in half, there's a gnarly and shocking decapitation, and some severed feet that's actually quite comedic. The Dinocroc's design is also unnerving. With better rendering and lighting, it could have been a real show stealer. It changes size sometimes too. Still, for 2004, it's awesome. It's got too many teeth. I wonder if it hurt it to close its mouth. What are really intense are the chase scenes with the creature. The scenes where Michael is running and hiding from the Dinocroc are nail-biting. Momster kept saying, "Hide up in the rafters," or "hide up in that net over there that's hung up." Another thing that amplifies this movie is the motion picture soundtrack. Damon Ebber brings a loud orchestral score to the film, and it's just amazing. Scenes are truly elevated to another level when it comes on. I especially love the scenes where it cuts back from music to normal sound, like when Daniel is running to get the lifeguard, and it's intense and the music's playing, then it cuts back to the beach where the people are trying to relax and enjoy themselves. Then it cuts back to Daniel running and goes, da-da. It's really effective. Overall, this could have been a complete dumpster fire. But it wasn't. It's serious enough to work for pure entertainment. You feel for the characters too. Some of the acting could have been a bit better, but I feel like the characters slip into the roles the longer the film goes on for. It's a turn your judgment off kind of film. It's not going to win any awards. Well, it did. Anyway, I would recommend this film to people who love cheesy monster flicks with a side of seriousness for their characters. It's not Godzilla -1 level intensity for the characters, but it's still... It hits, yeah. There's lots of intensity, too. I mean, when the intensity doesn't land, it's kind of sour, but so is Dinocroc's breath. I am Brian Gatto. Hit that notification bell to be notified every time I make a new video, and as always, subscribe.